Namaste.
Namaste.
We were just going to have a little discussion about the demystification of chakras, as they are often presented in the yoga world as something a little too mystical and theoretical, and I've heard some famous American yoga teachers talking about chakras, saying, if there is such a thing at all, because they're so focused on the material and touching your toes and having your toes in alignment with your nose, they're missing the energetic aspect. And in science, in Western science, has you can come right around to seeing that actually everything is made of energy. So what I am presenting in Chakra Yoga, the chakras, is an ancient system of understanding the energetic world as it relates to humans, as humans relate to the earth and to the universe. And this is very much a missing link and an important part of human understanding of who and what we are. How to understand the function of the mind, which goes between consciousness and body, and the energy that goes from mind to body to regulate all things. So, in your religious upbringing, when you were little, how did they present the concept of God to begin with, as something you worship, something
something that's always watching you and protecting you, let's say, but you have to be
also punishing you.
Also punishing you if you don't do well, and and it's like you need to always be under some regulations to, not to be sinful.
Always watching, always
watching,
under surveillance, which is actually what modern society is trying to do, keep everyone under supervision. And in the Catholic schools that I went to as a child, it was simply explained that God is everywhere at all times and always watching, the observer. This is really a definition of consciousness. And where modern science and quantum physics has come to this point of realizing there is something that is communicating from all the cells in your body to all the molecules. There's this field of communication that is actually faster than the speed of light, faster than our telecommunications.
A higher intelligence, let's say.
Yeah, it's some kind of a higher intelligence that's communicating all the knowledge, all the information.
Yeah.
In yoga, this is called Purusha. It's the consciousness of the universe that is containing everything and communicating everything. It's everywhere at all times. It's the consciousness of everything.
It's a consciousness of everything. Yeah, coming into the science of yoga and learning about Samkhya philosophy and how everything relates to everything we know and to everything we are. It makes much more sense that actually what is watching over you
is you watching yourself.
Yeah, it's watching you watching yourself, but your higher self actually.
Yeah, higher self. It's like in the Western world, God is watching you. In the Eastern world, you are the watcher.
Yeah.
And the you watching yourself is the same as the you watching everyone. It's all one consciousness divided into our individual pieces, and coming to grips with that and understanding it.
Maybe the missing link, as you say, that in Western societies we are more, individual. We don't see everything as one, but mostly as separated from the oneness. So I think going back.
Totally, yeah, good point. In the West, the focus is on taking things apart and seeing all the pieces, even taking bodies apart and seeing the different parts and pieces of us and what's dysfunctional, and not seeing that it's all working together.
I think
and even humanity
link. For me, it was a missing link, because there was at no time someone to point out that maybe everything is coming out of one, and everything is oneness, and we're all interconnected, and so going back to the oneness makes things more clearer.
And that's always been the concept in the Samkhya. the oneness of everything is part of one universe, which means one song.
Yeah.
And then it's a different perspective from everything being part of one, everything cooperating in the oneness of the unfolding universe, to separate planets, separate stars, separate people, separate races, separate religions. The separation thing is a very Western, flawed view of the universe.
Yeah, but keeps everybody busy.
Yeah, keeps everybody busy.
On their own.
Yeah. So back to the deity thing. The chakras are essentially, chakra means a wheel, and it's referred to as a wheel of energy. What is a wheel of energy is what quantum physics has rediscovered. Everything is made of little vortexes of energy, quantum fields. And now they're looking at the torus as a kind of a model of how this looks, which is a spinning wheel, becoming three-dimensional. That's what these are. Each one has a specific frequency of energy, which is still kind of unknown in Western science. And here I completely disagree with the physicists who are now saying, well, we now know that electromagnetic energy is one kind of energy, and that's not true, because in the ancient system they got them very well categorized and understood. And as an example, we have gravity, which is the first chakra. It is the chakra. It's the force of gravity. The second force is called covalence. In physics, they talk about, well, there's the strong force and the weak force, intermolecular forces, etc. Well, that's all pretty vague, actually. Covalence is the energy that holds atoms together into molecules. When we get to the third chakra, it's combustion. And this is the power that breaks the molecules apart. So here we have waves of energy coming into materialization, into our atoms, into our molecules. It's the condensation of energy into this world. And then when we get to the third, the energy is released again. And as we get to the fourth chakra, it's the power of repulsion, a force, a weak force, a weak atomic force in physics, but it's the power that repels everything. It's the power that pushes things apart gradually and gently, expanding the universe, keeping molecules from collapsing together. When they come close, there's a force that balances out. Gravitation is pulling together, and this repulsive force is keeping them from collapsing together. Keeps them apart, keeps the space between atoms and molecules. So it's a very important force. Otherwise, everything would simply collapse into almost nothingness. The fifth chakra is the power of radiation. It's also an outward flowing, moving force that's radiating. You look at the sun and see what radiation is. It's throwing out this energy at the speed of light and emanating it in all directions all the time. Electromagnetic radiation is one scientific way of looking at it. But there we've got this entanglement of electromagnetic. So what is that? In the science of yoga, electromagnetic and magnetic. Electro is the electron that's spinning, and the magnetic is the wave that's guiding the spin. So we have a wave coming from the sun to the earth. It's a light wave. Okay, we see it as light. It's a wave made of electro and magnetic. The electro is spinning around and makes this wave. They're separate, but they're entangled pretty much everywhere in the universe. But in yoga, you learn to use the magnetic as the guiding light. This is the matrix, the grid work, that's holding the image which the electron then falls into and becomes the whole atomic world and the molecular world that is us and the world we live in. Then the biggest missing element again goes back to consciousness, which physicists are banging their head against the wall. The hardcore, old school physicists are saying, we don't want to bring consciousness into this. We want to figure everything out as if there was none. And yet they are the consciousness that's observing all of these mathematical equations and all of their experiments.
But sometimes I think I've heard a lot of times going backwards, like a body is created and then it has consciousness, but
Yeah.
well, I think they have it the opposite way, like consciousness exists and then a body is created.
Yeah. From the Eastern perspective, consciousness exists. There is the consciousness of the universe, there's the mind of the universe, there's the imagination that sets all of these electromagnetic waves into motion to manifest into the atoms and molecules. But it begins with consciousness manifesting a body.
To observe life and to live life, right?
Yeah.
To experience
We
life.
We are the senses of the universe. We're here to experience the universe in its manifestation.
Yeah.
So this is stepping a little bit out of the scientific realm, where trying to figure out what everything is and why we're here, which should be an important question to look at. So this is the science of yoga, and everybody should know this. And then in the expansion of this, we go into what does gravity do in our body. We have this force of gravitation that is part of our first chakra, and it's the force that holds us together. Yeah. It's the integrity of I am me, gives me my individuality. It's there in every cell. Every cell is holding itself together. Every cell is pulling in what it needs as far as oxygen and nutrition to maintain itself, to rebuild and to reproduce. And that's just the way it is. And then the covalent aspect is the energy that we need to make all of our body chemistry,
to move everything
to combine all the atoms into the molecular formations, into our particular proteins and DNA and everything. So these forces are working to make us. And then we get to the third chakra, the power of change, transformation, combustion. This is connected to our digestive system that is then taking food, breaking it apart and releasing photons and electrons to make our energy that we work with.
But I think sometimes what's missing here, I see from teaching, that we're not aware, like, because we don't know so much of the physiology that makes us, like, we eat and we don't know exactly what happens when we eat, but when you study physiology and you go into what's really happening, you see that there is a higher intelligence that knows that you eat this piece of bread and then this breaks down in your mouth and then in the stomach and then the pancreas does this, enzymes are secreted. So it's like a magical process of taking something and transforming it into energy, and then all this is transferred to all your cells, and then the whole body is made new from what you eat.
And we take all this for granted without thinking about it. But the miraculousness of it is, how does your pancreas know how to make thousands of different enzymes that are molecularly made to go in to break up certain food chains into simpler molecules that we can then reassemble into ours? The intelligence behind this is mind-blowing, but we don't even think about that.
Yeah, that's why I think physiology is like anatomy and physiology mostly is like interesting to study, because you understand how everything has this intelligence and you're not aware of that, and then you are that actually, but you're not aware of all this intelligence going in you
it's
to
all
support you.
Relegated to the subconscious realm, which has all the programs that contain digestion and keep it functioning no matter what we eat, and keeps your heart beating, keeps your immune system functioning, all these things we just take for granted. So yoga brings us into the study of this. Our physiology, how do we work? It's amazing. And you start to realize, wow, we are amazing creations made with consciousness and with an intelligent design that is not just chaotic molecules coming together and suddenly becoming humans. It's all part of a divine plan,
and just
whatever you think of the divine.
Just talking about digestion, you go into all the systems, the immune system, everything, how everything functions is like more magical. Then you understand that there is a higher force guiding you, and all these energy centers are not like fiction or
fairy tales.
Is like because
this is the real energy that makes everything.
People think that Well, maybe they exist, maybe they don't, but I think it's like these are vortexes of energy that are all around, and we are just here because of this.
They are the forces of the
That
universe, the
make
forces
us,
of
yeah,
creation.
that make everything. So
Yeah.
it's not possible not to have this. But in Western world, we need to see something to believe it.
Yeah. But we accept that gravity
Yeah.
exists because we can't fly.
Yeah, but we don't know how to feel gravity in ourselves. That's why
Yeah.
sometimes we don't understand. Once you understand
Well,
and you feel gravity in you.
Yeah. So in yoga, we have the techniques to feel these energies and discover what they are doing in us. And the energies become a reality in our experience, not a mathematical theory or some concept. You're actually working with these energies. And when you do that, you can empower all the glands and organs that are connected.
But I think this is the most important thing to experience the forces in you.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to
Proof.
because
You don't need to prove you're alive.
yeah, you
Because,
understand how
yeah.
the gravity works, how covalence works, how transformation works, how
Yeah.
repulsion works. You feel this energy, and I think this is the most amazing to see the microcosm and the macrocosm, and then coming to experiencing all these energies by all these different types of different studies of yoga and the different techniques and practices. You know, that makes the science of yoga a very complete system that looks in every part, does not leave anything behind.
The term in English, the proof is in the pudding. You can put all the ingredients together and it turns into a wonderful tasting pudding. And you put all these forces together and all the functions that they're in charge of, and you have a human being that is fully functional, an amazing creature that can do so much. And here we are. We can't deny that we exist. And the miraculousness of how everything works has all been taken care of by an intelligence beyond us. We didn't create ourselves. We didn't create this digestive system. We didn't create the immune system. We're trying to replicate it and do something better with all the pharmaceutical stuff. But we have an immune system that works on this principle of repulsion, which is then in charge of repelling anything in you that is not biologically part of you.
Yeah.
And this force governs all the white blood cells of different types that go around and sweep out the body and pick up things that are not in harmony. And all of this is actually working on sound and frequency.
Yeah, this I find it's the most amazing. That,
yeah.
You know, the way they track down things that.
Yeah. Every molecule in your being has
exactly.
its own little song.
The sound.
And the white blood cells know all of the songs in the different glands and organs, and anything that's out of tune, attack and kill, get rid of it. And this is how it works. This is totally miraculous and beyond our technology. That this
experiencing it also is magnificent, because you know, we all get sick, we all have you know, go through difficult times, but when you try to experiment and see how it works and why it works and know how to take care of it
and make it work better.
And make it work better by breathing, by doing the techniques, by not eating too much, by sleeping, by taking a rest, or you know, charging the force to work with you and help you heal.
Yeah. So the experience is there, and the techniques give the experience, and then you can more regulate the different systems and keep them on track